Hey there, welcome to the Alexa Z Show, because life should be fun and meditation should be easy. In today's episode, we'll discuss how to get off that emotional road to the holidays and actually buy yourself, or I should say your brain, some time and peace. The title of this episode is Emotional Overload. That sounds stressful. The rest of the title is How Not to Harm Your Loved Ones and Take Care of Yourself at the Same Time. Harm and care in the same sentence. Might sound oxymoronic, but you know what? That's how the holidays feel sometimes. Thanksgiving just passed, and I hope you all had a great holiday. You might be so darn excited that you just desire the next holiday to be just as perfect. However, for many of us, the reality is that we might be pondering thoughts already like, ugh, that could have been so much better. I should have invited so-and-so. Why didn't I include that other person? They had nowhere to go. I totally forgot. Or maybe it just didn't meet your incredibly high expectations. Maybe you're saying already, next year I am going to do it totally differently. Or maybe you're not going to do it at all. And then there are the extra parties, the additional week later of Friendsgivings, holiday parties, and let's not even mention gift giving. If this is stressing you out, hang on. Do a little dance through my jingle, take a couple of deep breaths, leave it up to me. I think I can help. A show for those who want to meditate or maybe tried, loved it one day, hated it the next, or maybe forgot why the heck they're supposed to do it anyway. Well, you landed on the right show. Do you still find yourself wishing you had more time, waking up tired, wanting to take back what you just said to your boss? Seriously, don't you just want to spend a peaceful, productive day with time left to learn the guitar and start that $1 million side hustle? Follow me at alexazmeditates.com/podcast and let's make it happen. Hey there, Alexa Z here. The stress of the holidays comes in so many forms. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to, and I know you've hit this too. People who are just not liking the holidays. Maybe they've never liked the holidays. People have lost their loved ones. People have family members who are sick. It always seems like you hear so much of this at the holidays. It goes on all year long. It's just like an added stress. Did you lose a loved one and you miss them this holiday? You might be in company with many people out there, but it still feels like it's all a weight you have to bear and it's all yours. Or maybe you're just caught up on InstaFace, just looking at how incredibly joyous everyone seems to see or how perfect they're already put up before Thanksgiving Christmas trees are. And you know what? We know it's not reality, but it's still super stressful. A couple episodes ago, it would be in episode 10, we talked about compassion. We talked about compassion in what it is, as defined as suffering together, which doesn't sound very fun, but suffering together meaning it's one step past sympathy and empathy. It's a feeling that I have sympathy. I'm walking in your shoes, and the added ingredient of I want to help. So compassion, I always talk about it at this time of the year because we want to slow down and be more compassionate, kind human beings to bring that amazing feeling into the holidays. So where does it go when it seems like everything is so emotional? I had to laugh. I found out my neighbor who had a lovely Thanksgiving, they did the entire thing by ordering it from Whole Foods. Not only was it fabulous and healthy and exactly what they wanted, but there was very little stress in doing it so that they got to spend a lot more time with their family. I mean, that's where my thoughts are for future years. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that. I had to take extra time off from work, extra cleaning, extra embarrassment that the house isn't clean enough, extra worry that there's not enough food. And then again, all these parties coming up, all these family things and friend things. You know, we all maybe heard of the term FOMO, the fear of missing out. So we just keep saying yes. We keep saying yes to everything. And then all of a sudden we're completely exhausted and we forget that other term that I heard recently. What is it? Fear of missing out. JOMO. I think it's JOMO, the joy of missing out. I think there's a comedian out there, and if it was Jim Gaffigan, that says, oh my God, the smile that comes across your face when you say, I'm not going. And isn't that funny? How many times do you make so many plans and then suddenly you're like, I don't want to go, and you buck it up and you say, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't make it. And you're so happy. There's a reason for all of this. It's this massive emotional roller coaster. So let's talk about some specifics about meditation, because that's what I do. That's how I roll, and the brain and what is actually happening. Now, meditation calms your nervous system, so we know that's great for stress and your emotions. And it trains your brain to be more focused, engaged, and less reactive. Focused, engaged, and less reactive. We want all of those things. Meditation strengthens those things. Now, remember, we don't just have one smart executive prefrontal cortex of our brain. We have an emotional center. We have logic. We have reason. And we have our we have fight or flight. So in order, it would be fight or flight, puppy kitty brain, emotional, memories, and then our prefrontal CEO part of our brain. We don't use them all. We get stuck where we think we need to get stuck. We put our attention where we think it needs to be, and usually end up in fight or flight or in total logic and reason. So we want to take a step back and use some self-care so that as we hit these emotional roller coasters of the holiday, we can take a step back so that our rational mind can catch up to our emotional mind. Do you see the order of that? We need the rational mind to catch up with our emotional mind. So if throughout the season, we're just kind of stomping on our emotional mind because we need to be rational. We need to get the shopping done. We need to get the house clean. We need to get family members over, whatever. If we're stomping on our emotional mind, then ration is out the window. You can't have thoughts without emotions. Think of it this way. In the base of your brain, at the top of your spinal cord, is your brainstem. Things come through there first, and as they work their way to your prefrontal cortex, somehow you've got to process those emotional stimuli, right? There's a great stimulus that causes an emotion. That's what an emotion is. It's a reaction to a big stimulus. So if you're going to just skip over all of that, maybe you're just caught up in total joy and you can't get organized, or maybe you're caught up in sadness. Whatever it is, you gotta identify it. Now that's the hard part, right? It seems to attack us and end up in our executive brain functioning before we processed it. And that's when we end up wanting to scream at our families, kick the dog, quit work, give up, right? That's just exaggerating, but that's really what happens. So what we're trying to do in life, but today we're just, using the holidays as an example, we're trying to slow it down just enough so our rational brain can catch up. Now, we are smart people. I'm going to bring up emotional intelligence for a moment, and I could do another show on that in its entirety, but think of it this way. Everyone who's listening to this has an IQ. And I know if you're listening and you're brilliant and you're a smart person. Your IQ is the way you learn from 15 to 50. It is what it is. You have personality traits. I'm an introvert hiding in an extrovert's body. Those are my traits. I need activity in my life. I need quiet in my life. I'm never going to change that. Those are my personality traits. But the one thing I can change is the emotional side to me, or my emotional intelligence. And if any of you, I don't know how you could not have heard of this, but most of the great leaders, or let's forget about even the word leader, people in your life that you have great respect for, people that you wish you could emulate, they're usually extremely emotional and emotionally intelligent. They say that high IQs are run over by lower IQs if those people have higher emotional intelligence. So let me say that again. If I have a lower IQ than you, but I have very high emotional intelligence, I'm probably going to surpass you in many ways. So we're not talking about jobs right now. We're not talking about leadership. We're talking about who we want to be as human beings. We want to be emotionally intelligent people. We want to have the whole thing going on. We want to use all of our brain because Well, we've got an entire brain, so why not use it? But in stressful times, we end up dropping into just logic and reason. That's it. We make decisions on logic and reason. Dropping into emotion. We make our decisions based on emotion. And if that's what you're doing, how's it working for you? Probably not so well. So when we go back to meditation, calming our nervous system and training our brain to be more focused, engaged, and less reactive, well, that training of that muscle is going to help you process those emotions before they run away with your brain. Again, you're training your brain. It's a training. Now you're thinking, well, how am I ever going to have the time to do this? It's crazy. I've got so much to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. So meditation is building the muscle. It's building the muscle. Mindfulness is going out in your daily life and using what you learn, being mindful throughout your life. So it's the holidays. You don't want to forget the holidays. You want to be there for every moment. I still remember my presents under the tree as a kid. I remember my sister and I, just the two of us, would take the lights out of the windows, and there was no fancy ones back then. They were literally scotch taped, God knows why, to the windowsill, and we would pull them down and shine them on all our gifts and count how many we each had, and then go back to bed. I remember the boxes. I remember the order. I remember my toys. I remember the Christmas tree. I have so many memories. Can you remember exactly what your house was decorated like last year? Maybe you can. I don't often remember. We don't decorate quite as much at home as we used to. I don't quite remember what we did. I remember how my spa looked because I like decorating my spa, and probably like it even more because my manager might have decorated. I got to think my way through that. But I remember things I do slowly because as a kid, I remembered all of that because I wasn't cluttered. There wasn't so much coming at me. I was still a kid. I still had my kid mind that slowed things down enough that I could enjoy every moment. Therefore, I could remember them. We say time just flies by. The holidays fly by. We're complaining about them, and the next thing you know, they're over. And we're like, where did time go? Time goes by quickly because we are going so fast that we cannot remember the details of the day, the moment, much less what we had for breakfast. So the practice of meditation and mindfulness is slowing everything down just enough so that you can be present. So it's kind of a two-way street. You want to slow down to be present, but you also have to make the decision to be present. So in this conversation, mindfulness, think of it as just being a beginner. Being me when I looked at my presents in the middle of the night with my little light in my hand. Me as waking up on Christmas morning. You as welcoming your family into your house for the holiday. Think of yourself as a beginner. They say the smartest person in the room is a beginner. So maybe this holiday, you can back up a little. Back up and look at this holiday like, I've never done this before. There's no right, there's no wrong. And I would love for you in the midst of this crazy holiday to make it less crazy by going back to your practice. 5 minutes. Whatever you put into it, you will get out of it. Slow your brain down so that as those emotions, I'm pointing at the back of my head right now, I don't know why you can't see me, as those emotions come into the back part of your brain, up that spinal cord, the emotions come in, they start working their way through their brain. On the time they get to your executive center, you're conducting the holidays with both emotion and logic and reason. So when you meditate, you're truly making unity of your brain. You're unifying or trying to unify your brain. So that emotional seesaw, there's something that lights up in your brain when you meditate, like your anterior cingulate. Think of it as a seesaw, and the things that are lighting up in the middle are helping balance it. That's why they say meditators have a thicker corpus callosum, that strip that goes down between the two hemispheres of your brain, pulling your left and your right hemisphere together. So I'm asking you to do a little work these holidays, but it's exactly what the title of this episode was. Do some work so that you don't want to harm your loved ones and you're taking care of yourself. It is just positive from every different aspect. It doesn't take a lot of time. And if you wait until after the holidays to pick up the practice you had or to start one, you're missing out. You're missing out on slowing your mind, finding more time, remembering what's important, noticing your compassionate, loving, kind mind, and being exactly who you want to be. So, do you think you can try that out? Maybe just each day taking a little bit of time to step back. Maybe it's going for a brief walk. We tend to be inside a lot. If you're living somewhere where it's colder, maybe you're inside because of the cold, or you're just running around and you're in stores. Take a moment. Take a stroll outside. Get some natural sunlight. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Yep, telling you to wake up 15 minutes earlier when you're already exhausted. Wake up 15 minutes earlier so you can practice your meditation. If you wake up and you practice meditation, you're not losing anything. You think you're losing 15 minutes of sleep, but those last 15 minutes when you're just about to wake up, do you think you're getting a lot of rest? I don't think so. That's usually when you end up having crazy dreams. You're already in REM sleep. Your mind is getting active. You have crazy dreams, and then you wake up and you spend the next 10 minutes trying to analyze them. Skip that part. Wake up, sit down, get in your chair, give yourself some deep breaths, drop into the awareness of who you are, get out of the waves of the holiday just for a bit. Get out of the waves and drop back into that ocean, that source of who you are, so that you can take the day on, the week, the holiday, the party, and it's not going to look like this huge, massive weight. It's going to look like you want it to look. Sitting down in your chair is your choice. Using your whole brain is your choice. It just takes some practice. So sit, be quiet, make it through your day, and see what happens. I always say you are the best test to see if this stuff is working. Science has proven we have a body, we have a mind, and we have an energetic body. We have a mind, a body, and an energy. Take some time to balance them all. On top of that, it's going to boost your immune system. It's going to help your sleep. It's going to be great. And if you want to give somebody a gift this season, give them the gift of sitting down and meditating with you. Give them the gift of meditation. Give them an experience. We just did at my spa, I always gift a loving kindness meditation. And there was probably about, 15 of us or something like that, with some people also attending via a Zoom webinar. And everyone said the same thing. It's just amazing. Being in a room with people, doesn't even have to be next to each other, even on the phone, on a FaceTime. That would be really fun. FaceTime your kids, your friends. Get their face on the screen, then tell them to close their eyes and not look at you and be with them. Okay, I'm getting goofy, but I get so excited because this stuff works. It really, really does. So thank you for joining me in this post-discussion on emotional overload, post from Thanksgiving, pre to the holidays coming up. Have a great, great, great holiday. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you know that you are loved. I hope you tune in to the next episode. Hit subscribe. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, leave a review. I read them and I will get on this microphone and talk about anything you want. Have a fabulous day. Next week, we're going to talk about productivity and efficiency, which is perfect because you will be so together and rational and emotional and compassionate that we will just fine-tune it next week. And we'll tell you how to be more productive and more efficient. Signing off. See you later, taters. Peace out.